Well, good afternoon, everyone. Steve Murray here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services, trying to get my phone cord to stretch far enough to close the door to cut out the racket. Appreciate y'all joining us here this afternoon. We've got a great webinar scheduled. This non-hardship in-service withdrawals is one of our webinars that draws a lot of interest for obvious reasons. There's a ton of opportunity in the 401k platform to meet new clients and to help existing clients as well. And Dave has been that's been a big part of his business. I would say behind Social Security, working with people with their 401k funds and maybe looking from time to time to doing a portion or a larger portion into something guaranteed is been a very solid part of his business. As you know, David promotes his business via both Social Security seminars, radios, and regular seminars. So he gets out there quite a bit. And I know from personal experience that most of his seminars now are based on Social Security training, and non-hardship withdrawals always comes up there. And then, of course, his radio show, he'll mention non-hardship withdrawals, in-service non-hardship withdrawals, the opportunity to do that at least once a show. And there's a reason for that. Is it's an area where people have a lot of concern, maybe more now than they might have had 2 or 3 years ago when it looked like their 401k accounts were going to do nothing but go up. But now folks are looking to convert to income, looking to convert to a little bit more safety. And so it just is such a valuable thing to know, how to go about even people that are still in service, that they can still access some of their funds, and how to go about walking your client through that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We try and get these in within 20 minutes, so I don't do much of an introduction, but I'm going to let you know that Dave has been in the business since 1981, both in the insurance and securities sides of the business. Top producer on a regular basis in both realms. He's been a coach with us for about 15, 16 years now, I think, and it's been a lot of benefit to our producers. We decided to do these 2020s at the end of last year, just to give you a quick hitting sales thought or idea that you can use with some of your clientele. And so today, as you know, we're going to talk about in-service non-hardship withdrawals. So
Hey,
Dave,
Steve, how you doing?
Good. Dave, how are you? I was just going to ask if you're aboard and that you are coming through loud and clear. So really good news. I'm going to turn over the controls to Dave right now. And probably within about 12 minutes, you'll know everything there is to know about in-service non-hardship withdrawals. And
Yeah.
we'll take a couple minutes to answer a couple questions, and we'll have you out of here and back to doing the most important part of your business, which is helping your clients here pretty quickly. So here we
Yep.
go, Mr. Dave Pimper.
Okay, you bet. Good. And you've got take it. You're giving me the controls here
As we
somehow.
speak. Yep, as we speak.
Okay, perfecto. Well, thank you everybody for coming on. We got a good crowd, so that's wonderful. So let's talk about in-service plans. In-service, the whole wordage of it is in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan. So what are they? What are they? So we'll go in, and you know what? If you got any questions, type them in. This is only about a 10-minute webinar, so this is a bam hitter. So the definition. So listen, now this is then I'll tell you exactly, but a withdrawal made from a qualified plan. So that's a 401k, 403b, 457 through a savings plan before the holder experiences a triggering event. Well, it could be disability, it could be death, but in our case, we're talking about turning 59 and a half. So the people have to be 59 and a half or over that wants to do this. Now, it says the in-service withdrawal distribution option allows certain plan participants to receive some or all of their retirement assets while they're still employed. So that's pretty cool. A lot of people don't know this is available, but say they have $500,000 in their 401k, they're 62, they want to work to 66, they're unhappy with the guaranteed rate within their retirement plan, which a lot of people are. They want to get a better plan, but they know they have to retire before they can get to their money. Wrong. If the in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan documents are for that plan, they can take money, a portion or all of that money out before they retire, as long as they're 59 and a half or over. So here's kind of the 5 thoughts, 5 rules, or rules that we wanted to talk about. Have to be 59 and a half or over to participate. Available in company retirement plans, not all, but the big ones, 401k, 403bs, and 457s. For profit, nonprofit, government. Now, when they roll it goes in to an individual IRA tax-free. Now it's tax deferred from there. If it's pre-tax money, of course it'll be taxed when it comes out, but not on the transfer. Just like any kind of transferring of one IRA or 401k to an IRA. If you take it out in cash, I mean, you do have 60 days to pay it back, but they're going to withhold 20% to make it up. You've got to come up. You don't want to do that. Sometimes if there's loans in the plan, sometimes it could be just your money, not the match. I mean, sometimes if you take all of it out, might be 6 months before you can start up. Normally, we keep a little in the plan. So there's some different things. But why does somebody want to do this? I'll tell you what, more options you have, and the more guaranteed options, especially in time periods just like this. So why do companies offer it? There's three main reasons. They want to be competitive. If they get an older employee, especially in that C-suite, been around for a while, has big money, they can get to that money at any time they want to after 59 and a half. A lot of people start phasing in retirement. So if they phase in retirement at 62, 63, 64, they may need to get to part of their 401k that allows them to do that and to go, otherwise you can't. And maybe the biggest part is the liability. Like right now, let's say you have a 401k plan and your only guaranteed option in there is money market, paying 1 or 2%. So there's not a good guaranteed option like you got if you work on independently from the outside. You say, I'm going to sue the company for not having the right options. Or let's say the options were too aggressive and they picked, well, all of a sudden now they could have said, you could have took your money out and done anything you wanted to do with it, but you elected not to. So liability does play a part in there. So here's the steps to find out if a person's got an in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan, okay? So you need to go, when you find, let's say it's a 401 statement, you need to actually get the physical statement of the account, the account balances, the account allocation, and what the specific accounts are, like on that Fidelity, on that Vanguard, on that American Funds, on that Principal Group, whoever it happens, T. Rowe Price, whoever it happens to be, but there'll be a phone number on there. And you want to ask if the client knows if they have it in service. Hardly any of them do. You don't want to go to the company and ask the human resource. We used to do that years ago. You just call Fidelity with the client right there. Do they have it available? They're going to tell you right there. And then I always ask, because I haven't really closed to the commitment on that money yet to go to the next step. But I say, but if my client would wish, what would it take? Can we do it by phone? Does it need your paperwork? Can we have our paperwork? You just ask those questions right there. If you'd like to take a portion or all that money, what are the steps of that? They tell you right there. People on the custodian end of an IRA like Fidelity or Vanguard, those are the two big ones. They used to try to save that money. They don't do it anymore. They don't. So you're giving them options they don't have now. We do lots of partials. They have 400,000. We do 200 of it. They have $1 million. We do 600 of it. But hopefully it's to make their portfolio better. If you can't make it better, you shouldn't be transferring it on out. So remember that rollover is tax-free, continues tax-deferred. Why to do it? A lot more options. Can they get a fixed indexed annuity in a 401k? They may eventually down the road, but even if it was passed today, it's going to be years and years before there really are options there. RMDs, this is old. It was 72. Now it's 73. The Bipartisan Budget Act, the Secure Act. I'm sorry, I'm back in my Social Security mode. The Secure Act of 2022 implemented in the last week of 2022. Now 73 is your first RMD. You have control of your money. It's a big deal. So I'm a marketer. Look at that old guy. I updated my picture about 6 months ago from 17 years ago. My, oh my. Even my wife said I should use the old picture. But there I am, almost 68 years old, been in the business for 42 years, worked with IAMs for 18 years, and I've coached with them for 17. I'm a producer, and I'm a pretty good producer, and the reason is I'm in front of so many people, so many clients. I mean, we got a movie, a retirement movie it's actually a movie. I mean, it's sanctioned. It's an actual movie. It has a rotten. Steve and I were talking about today. It has a Rotten Tomato rating on it. It's a PG movie, but it talks about money in a 401k or maybe having it in guaranteed income or guarantees of the difference in the risk you take. Yeah, we got 90 people signed up. Now we had a little bit of a snowstorm here yesterday, and we're not going to get them all there, but we're going to get 40, 50 people in this movie theater that I have captive for 2 hours. I mean, between my start and the movie of an hour 20 minutes and the actual closing, we're going to get. I hope I get. I hope minimum of 10 appointments. I hope I get 15 to 20. But I've done 547 public workshops, and I'm doing one next week. I do a lot of Social Security, but this one happens to be a dinner workshop, and right now I've got 37 signed up for one night and 36 the other night. And again, they won't all.
You should.
That's fun. It's fun to say that, Steve. And they're not all going to come, and I know that. But you know what? If half of them are 60%, which they should, but to get that steak, to get that chicken, the more are going to come. Yeah, but I'm going to have 30 people a night there. And I'll tell you, this happens to be an 8 mistakes retirement workshop, but that was Social Security. We've got other workshops. I've branded them. I put them together. They're proprietary to IAMS. But getting in front of people. So in service, I'm telling you what, 35-40% of all of the business I do is in service non-hardship withdrawal plans. And that's why I want to talk about that today. But from a marketing standpoint, start the new year on a good foot. The pandemic, I mean, is it behind us? You darn right it is. Is there still COVID? Yeah, there is. But it's not nearly the shutdown that it once was, not even close, even in the bigger cities. So if you need some help with in-service understanding that, if you'd like to go in and, hey, tell me about that movie, tell me about that seminar you got. I will tell you right now, people who get in front of a lot of prospects do a lot of business. There's an old saying, it says, procrastination is my sin, it brings me constant sorrow. My mind's going here, Steve. I've only said this 1,000 times in my life. Procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. And I use this because people who procrastinate normally aren't successful. It's the people who take action. You know what? If one of your resolutions this year was to get more efficient at work, maybe produce more, make your spouse happy because of the money you're bringing on in, helping more people, I'll tell you right now, you need to mark yes. Dave Pimper, and with the back help of IAMS, we can help you have more production. Really understanding that in-service component, but then maybe looking at different kinds of seminars or a movie. I mean, I'm going to talk 7 minutes before the movie and 3 minutes after the movie. I'm talking for 10 minutes, and I hope that I can get 15 to 20 appointments, 10 at a minimum. So, Steve, I'm going to turn it over to you. If you want to mark yes on this, then Drake will call you back, hopefully today. If not today, first thing in the morning. And he's got my calendar, and we'll get that 15-minute phone consultation. Believe me, it's low key. I'm not trying to sell you. I'm trying to help you. If I can help you market, get in front of more people, if I can help you understand the service non-hardship, I do a lot of other coachings too at Social Security and sales process and so forth. But I will tell you this. People who are making it happen, there's people that wait, the people that doubt, the people that make it happen. You want to be one of those people that make it happen. Steve, I will turn it over to you, and then we'll kind of sum this thing up.
Perfect. Well, a few questions have popped up, Dave. So can you walk through the process of how you have that conversation with the 401k administrator? I know you've got to have your client, they're likely on the line with you to get any information, but how does those conversations go when you're talking to the administrator?
I don't know if it's actually the 401k administrator. You might call it that. I call it always the custodian,
sure.
Or the trustee. But I mean, they're all kind of the same wordage. Yeah. So I call. You know what? Here's exactly what happens. I'll say to the guy, hey, is it okay if we call to just see if that option is available for you? I don't say, hey, should we call so I can roll that over and make a big commission? No, can I keep the hurdle very low? So who doesn't want options, right? Everybody does. And they said, yeah, sure. I said, okay, so here's what's going to happen. So I tell them ahead, like I'm doing right now. So I dial the number, Fidelity. They get, you wait for a couple minutes. They finally get on the line. I say who I am and that I'm a financial advisor, and I'm here with one of your clients, John. Say it's Steve Murray or John Doe. It's John Doe. Hey, John, can you say hi? He says hi. So they're going to go in. They might send him a text to verify who he is, that the text and his phone number is the same. So they make sure who he is. I said, it's okay if Dave Pimper talks for you. Then I handle everything. And the first thing I always do, I just ask, hey, let's get an idea of what the plan is worth to yesterday's close. How much is the value worth right now? That's great. Okay, good. And then I say, you know what? Is there any loans against the plan? No, there's no loans against the plan. Okay, that's great. And then I'll say, I want to know if it has an in-service option, an in-service non-hardship withdrawal option, where he can take money if he's age 59 and a half or over. Does he have that option? And then if they say no, then I know. If they say yes, he does, and I'll say, is there any specifics on that option? Like you can only work with the his money that's been put in, not the match money. If we take, can we take a partial, or can we take all? If we take all, is there any holdup in that? I mean, I just ask those different questions, and they tell me no, no, no. And then I say, you know what? And he very well may not. I say that. Very well may not. But if he does elect to take a portion or all of this money, can we do it by phone, like the check made out to the custodian, mailed to him, or can it mail directly to the custodian? Do we need, what kind of paperwork do we need? Do we need your paperwork? Do we need our paperwork? Just kind of tell me how that money goes on out. And then we say, thank you very much. And then I get done. I say, gosh, pretty cool. Not everybody has availability like that. You're pretty lucky. And just like it's a lot of people do, but I say they're lucky. They're fortunate. That's what I do, Steve. That's my routine.
Good. So, Tommy, if you have any more questions about that specifically, you go ahead and type them in. We'll try and get an answer. I think Dave, you were pretty thorough in that answer. I appreciate that. And it was a good question, Tommy, because that probably is the nuts and bolts of how that call goes is probably pretty important. And then, Dave, after you get off the line with the client, this is more for my information. I think I have an idea of kind of how you present that. But when after you get off the phone with your client, say, hey, you've got that availability. What do you say next to them when you're talking to them? Let's say they've got, not all of us, let's say they've got, they're 50% vested or whatever, they get 50% of the money out. Do you normally talk about, the possibility of moving it all or a portion of it, and what motivates them to be interested in even considering moving it?
Losing 20% this year in the stock market, losing 13% this year in the core bond index, having only a 1% rate on the best guarantee that they have. 401ks aren't set up for good guarantees. Fixed indexed annuity, fixed. I'm writing one today. Well, I worked on this. I mean, I got 417,000, and I do a lot more fixed index than fixed, but this guy is extremely conservative. I normally don't work with 10-year product, but I'm working with 10-year because rates will come down within 10 years, won't they, Steve?
Yes, they will. Yep.
You would think so. So. Yeah, so we're taking it out for 10 years, and he wants the highest cap he can get on the fixed index. So I got 150,000 going into a fixed index and another 262,000 going in on a fixed. I tell you what, people want guarantees. I got this movie I'm doing tonight, and it's all about risk and reward. If you're willing to take the risk and you can lose 20%, that's pretty easy when you're 30, when you're 25, when you're even 40. But when you're 63 and you want to retire at 64, when you're 60 and want to retire at 64, I mean, think about it. I mean, in 2007, in 2008 and 2009, in those 18-month time period, the market goes down a touch over 56%. It took 6 years to get back to even. Well, you know what? you might be dead after you retire in 6 years. I mean, to get back to even. So it's just very compelling. Why do it? Better options, more options. How about if a person, I'm not saying to do this, but the person says, look, I love Berkshire Hathaway. I love Berkshire Hathaway. I love Warren Buffett. I want to go in and invest with Berkshire Hathaway B. Can they do that in the 401k? No. I want a CD. I can get a CD for 4.5%. I don't want an insurance guarantee. Can they do it in that? No. Can they do it on the outside? Well, it depends on your licenses. But if you're securities licensed, I am sure you can. If you're strictly insurance licensed, you could put it into a fixed annuity. I mean, that 10 years got a 5.1%. 5%. You know what? Look how much money, Steve, we would have lost if you'd have asked a year ago if this year we'll be able to get 5%. No, isn't that right?
Yeah.
I mean, the highest rate we could probably get 12, 13 months ago was probably 3, wasn't it? 3?
At best. Yeah.
3 at best. Yeah, that's right. So that's why the options are incredible on the outside versus I love 401ks. I love it to be the accumulation. What you see, you don't get, but is it good for making money? And 50% of all Americans put it into a target date fund, and they let someone else decide kind of how those, there's just so much more they can do on the outside.
So Jonathan, he remarks he has guaranteed income ? So I'm guessing he's listened to our conversation. And I know that you don't necessarily look yourself to income riders, but there probably are a lot of folks that are trying to say today, hey, what can I lock in for some type of guaranteed income? And index annuities work pretty well for that. Yeah,
very well. Yeah. What happens, like, say I'm an old accumulator broker. I mean, I've been in the business for 42 years, but in the reality, no, there's very much that it can be for the right person. But I will say, Steve, industry-wide, I mean, when an agent writes a fixed indexed annuity and they put an income rider on there, does the rep make more money?
Nope.
Does the FMO, i.e. IAMS, makes more money?
Nope.
So there's no incentive. I mean, financial, like behind, I should do this because I'm going to make more. No, it's not. So when I started in the fixed index, I've been in the business since 81, so for 42 years, but I've shown fixed index. I was a slow learner. I started 18 years ago, but
that's not bad.
What percentage approximately of people used income riders 18 years ago?
0.
Or when income riders were in their height, kind of. What percentage?
Oh, at their height, I would say we saw income riders probably on close to half of the index annuity sold.
I bet it was more than that.
Yeah.
I bet it was more than
55,
that.
might have been 45, but it was never like 65. Yeah. There's still a pretty
good. No,
good.
maybe not.
Yeah.
Do you think it's higher or lower than that now?
Today, it's definitely lower.
Yeah. But one of the reasons just is because the insurance companies aren't quite as competitive on those rates. Would you think that would be the major reason?
I think one of the main reasons is there's more opportunity for accumulation now. So folks don't.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I think it's those two. You're right. There is. There's a lot of options. So I've always kind of been, you know what, when you have a 10% free withdrawal, plus I like the idea that there's no internal charge. I like that idea. I like to say, just like a CD, there is no internal charge. If you break it early with a CD, you have a 3-month or 6-month or year penalty. If you break it early with a fixed index annuity, you have a penalty. It's a percentage penalty, but there's still a penalty like similar to that CD. But there's no internal charge. See, I like saying that. I'm comfortable with saying that.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm kind of just going. But am I dead against them? No. It just happens not to be. Just happens to not be of what I use. But when someone does use it, I think it's compelling, because it is compelling for someone to say, I can never run out of money. That's compelling. Mm-hmm. But I will go back and again, it's a question of why not leave it in that 401k? Because you know what? Because you can't get that kind of product in a 401k. And I read today that Congress is looking at putting fixed indexed in 401ks. But the beautiful thing there is, when the Congress say they're going to do something, even if it got implemented today, you're probably not going to see that actually take any kind of traction for 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, how
because
long
that's how
were
long.
401ks around before anybody actually put money into one? It
You
was
bet.
probably
How long was
40
Roth?
years.
How long was Roth IRAs around before it got, I'm doing
Any real
this workshop
usage? Yeah.
tonight.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm using this workshop tonight. I thought the Quotron machine was in the late 70s or early 80s. Well, I learned that the Quotron machine actually was made in the early, it was 1961, was invented. Okay, and it took over the ticker tape. I mean, the paper ticker tape, and then all of a sudden, now it's on the computer. But it said it was made in the early 60s, but it didn't really catch on until 81 or 82. And so we had one in our office, one machine, and everybody used to sit around drinking coffee, smoking
What's that, baby?
cigarettes back in the day, and watch the electronic ticker tape machine. Yeah, yeah. So you're right. So, but what happens is, that's a good question, but it's because you can't get that within your 401k. You can't,
Mhm.
just can't do it. Yeah.
Well, good. I think we have answered all the questions. There's a couple folks that have not answered the poll. If you want to take a minute yet to do that before we close out, what I would like to do, and I know you have to run, Dave, but I'm going to throw
I
up
do.
your
Yeah.
website here because somebody asked if they could listen to your radio show, and I'm going to show them where they can do that. But before I do that, if anyone that hasn't voted, please be perfectly fine with putting a no on there if you want. That's okay. Anyone that votes and says yes, I would like to speak with Dave, Drake will give you a call here, hopefully yet today. Sometimes when we do these later afternoon ones, it might be early tomorrow, but he'll try and shoot you a call and see if we can't set up a 10 to 15-minute conversation. Dave is pretty generous with his time, and he'll answer any questions that you have. And I think you'll find it a beneficial conversation, whether you decide to do get more information on non-hardship withdrawals or anything else with them. So vote. Oh, there goes the last one. 100%. Kind of like that. Okay.
Good deal.
Well, close. Yeah. I'm going to close out. Dave, I do want to say goodbye before I pull up your website.
You bet. Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, thank you. You stay on, because Steve will finish it on up. Going to make an offer. So I'll tell you what. Thank you very, very much for taking time out today. Those are called quick hitters. They're 2020 focus. So focus on the sales process. We've got some commitment lines coming up here that we just got in the can, and then we've got a couple, 3 or 4 new ones that are going to come on up. So thank you very much. If you want coaching, I coach on every one of those subjects, and just mark yes when Drake calls you, and we can get together and I can give you the insight. Okay, Steve, off to you.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Have a good afternoon. Good luck on your appointment.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, buddy.
You betcha. So I wanted to show you Dave's website because somebody asked to listen to Dave's radio show, and you would have to be local here because he's in Fremont, but his radio show is based out of Omaha, a pretty large station, so it gets all across eastern Nebraska and western Iowa. But here's where you would go: Retirement Boss Radio. I did chat that to everyone. And you can go to retirementbossradio.com and kind of see up above here. That's the web address. And then if you just go down to the end, you'll see, and he does them as podcasts, and you'll see they're broken up into half-hour slots. And you can listen to one he did as recently as December 10th. I'm surprised that's the most recent one on there. He probably just hasn't had time to update it since, but that's December 10th of this past December. And you might even, if you want to go back and listen to one, but you will see that Dave talks a lot about non-hardship withdrawals, in-service non-hardship withdrawals. He talks a lot about Social Security claiming. Question regarding can you do it if your securities license? Obviously you can. Dave himself is securities licensed. He runs it past his broker dealer, so his broker dealer is very well aware of that. He does allow himself an extra week. You all know if you work with a broker dealer, sometimes you have to give them a little bit of leeway time, and you'll have the show notes, and usually they'll just approve those. So you shouldn't have much trouble with that if you are indeed securities licensed. If there are any more questions about in-service non-hardship withdrawals or Dave's radio show or seminars, I will say this, is that we have seen towards October of last year, and then obviously we don't do a lot of seminar stuff in November, December, but then we've seen kind of numbers perk back up here. we've had a pretty decent increase. I don't want to put a blanket number out like 20 or 30% because some areas it's been greater than that, and some I'm sure it's been less. But people are now much more willing to attend events than they had been, even through most of 22. It's the first part of 22 for sure. So if you're hesitating to do something from a marketing standpoint that maybe you've done in the past with seminars, or if you've thought about seminars, maybe you haven't done one, and you would like to get into that, this is a great opportunity to do that. Radio works really well. In today's subject matter, in-service non-hardship withdrawals. I hope that helped you, give you an idea of how you might. Many of your customers, as you know, probably do have 401ks, and many of them have the opportunity, and they just are not aware of it. I mean, think of yourself. I think of myself, of how many of the employees here at IAMS are aware that might be available to them. And we're in the financial services business, and many of them, if you said, "Hey, in-service non-hardship withdrawal," they'd look at you sideways and say, "What's that?" So most people are unaware that that's an available thing to them. Once given the opportunity and walk through the opportunity, whether it's income or safe growth that you can offer them, I think that there's quite often some interest. So keep that in mind. Hopefully that helps you grow, add a little bit of extra premium to your business in 2023, and helps you be more beneficial and useful to your clients, and maybe even get in front of a new client or two. So great webinar today. We did go over, and I apologize for that. We really do try and keep these to 20 minutes. We just had more questions than sometimes we have. So I appreciate your all's patience, and thank you for asking those questions, and thank you all for taking the opportunity to have a few minutes with Dave. I think you'll find it valuable. If there's anything else we can do for you, I also chatted our 800 number. It's 800-255-5055. Give us a call, ask for me, ask for your sales director. We're always glad to help. We'll get that phone answered for you. There'll be a live body. We'll get your question answered quickly, and take advantage of the opportunities in front of us in 2023, whether it's MIGA products, good fixed indexed annuity products, life insurance, overfunded cash value life insurance. There's a lot of opportunity with your clients when you talk about guarantees right now. As you know, I don't need to tell you all that. So have a great afternoon. Have a great finish to your week. I know it's already Thursday and we're turning the corner. Have a great finish to your week, and let's have a great 2023 together. Thank you all for being part of the IAMS team. We sure appreciate it. Have a great afternoon.